Alrighty, so news of the week episode on this late Wednesday afternoon, and I gotta say, I didn't think this day was ever gonna happen. I didn't think that we finally get to talk about how the San Jose Earthquakes is in the process of being sold by a new owner, and that John Fisher has officially decided that he is in the process to finally sell the San Jose Earthquakes. Now, I did hear a rumor yesterday that of course the case, but I didn't believe it because John Fisher have for a long time want to keep the Quakes, and despite all the protests and all the outrage that's gone on with the Quakes fan base of demanding John Fisher to sell the team, he's been kind of unmoved. But it finally happened today, where when the Quakes officially announced the statement that they are on the selling process, similar to what we see with the Vancouver Whitecaps. This has to not only be just a relief for every Quakes fan, but it just feels like this is like an MLS Cup win that the Quakes have got in general. Now, as much as I know this is definitely beneficial to the Quakes, I kind of had a feeling why this happened with why John Fisher decided to sell the team, and it's not really for a good reason. If you look at the other situation that involved with John Fisher, you guys all know about the whole athletic situation of them currently playing in Sacramento before moving to Las Vegas, and that ballpark situation that is still very murky to this day, even though they got the vote from the state of Nevada and even from the city council in Las Vegas. It still lacked the funding in terms of building that stadium, and it feels like this sale process maybe is used to basically boost the price point that John Fisher is going to do in terms of building that new stadium in Vegas. So, well, this is definitely great news for the San Jose Earthquakes. If you are an athletics fan, or if you're still an Oakland A's fan, this just feels like, yeah, it looks like it's almost imminent. The fact that the A's is indeed going to Las Vegas, and that they of course will build that new stadium. But it's also going to be interesting to see that who exactly is going to be buying the San Jose Earthquakes right now. Now, I know some people will also say, well, is this kind of maybe a scary time for the Quakes as well? Because we talked about before with the Vancouver Whitecaps of them on the selling process, and there's still a lot of unknown in terms of that front. In fact, it's not only just unknown; it's just been very quiet when it comes to that front. Where ever since they announced that they're going to sell the team, we're now about 5 months into that process, and there's still not too much news about that process, and that there's even talks of that maybe Vancouver might be relocated to another city because of them eventually not being able to find an owner. I won't be that concerned about the San Jose Earthquakes. Consider I don't think MLS is going to let the Quakes leave for the second time. I mean, it was a big mistake the first time that they did that, and especially with this Bay Area being the sixth largest market in the country, there's no way that MLS is gonna let this happen, and that there's also some good investment that is within the Bay Area, and with the way that this league has grew, and with the way that each of these teams have grew in terms of value, and not to mention the fact that unlike what we saw back in 2006 when the Quakes did move to the Houston Dynamo, you also get the benefit of the doubt that you're going to have that World Cup boost that can really boost the value of this league, and also the market value of each of these teams as well. So this is really kind of a perfect time to purchase an MLS team before those values going to go way up as well. And with the way that the Bay Area is has an endless amount of rich owners, that is there are a rich billionaire that can definitely purchase the stake of the team. One of the big hope I'm thinking of is that maybe the Sharks owner could also buy in the stake of that. Or the best thing I think that Quakes fans are dreaming in terms of the new owner is the Joe Lake Up ownership group, him owning the Warriors, and see how he really did a good job in terms of turning that team into a dynasty a couple years ago. If he buys into the stake, that this team is no longer going to be penny pinching like what we see before, and they're going to be very aggressive when it comes to bring some real talent. But again, overall, this is just an incredible news for a Quakes fan base, and I have no doubt that once the selling process is going to complete, and that once the day of tyranny under John Fisher has finally come to an end, not only the San Jose Earthquakes are going to be a better team, but the attendance is definitely going to go up. I mean, the Quakes have been one of the lowest attended team in the league, and even though this season they've definitely done much better, the attendance hasn't really improved that much. And a big part of the reason why the attendance hasn't been good is the fact that yeah, this guy called John Fisher is in charge, and he's probably pissed off a lot of fans in a way that fans just doesn't want to go to a Quakes game because they do not want to support John Fisher. Now, I do think that the attendance will improve over time. It's not going to be a dramatic improvement straight away. You're going to have to win those fans back, and especially with them having some successful season in a row, then you can definitely win the fans back. And PayPal Park would not only be once again a fortress, but will be sell out pretty much like what we've seen in the first couple years when that stadium was built. But like I said, overall, this is just almost like an MLS Cup win that the Quakes have had. This has been something that's been a long time coming, and something that I think every fans, as much as they try to push this to happen, and Quakes fans have tirelessly protesting and demanding Fisher to sell this team. The fact that it finally is about to happen again, this feels just absolutely amazing. But at the same time, I feel really bad for A's fans. The fact that yeah, this is also kind of bad news for them because now it seems like John Fisher is really committed to build that stadium in Vegas, and he'll even try to sell one of his team that he owns so that he can get the money and the investment to build that new stadium in Las Vegas. Now, moving on, this is something I mentioned already, but I kind of want to bring it up again in the News of the Week episode, and that, of course, is talk about the attendance itself in the FIFA Club World Cup. So, yeah, it's been a mixed bag so far. There's actually now a rumor saying that not only the FIFA Club World Cup could be back in the US in 2028, but they're looking to expand to 48 teams in the near future, which, yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of almost the complete opposite of what we thought that it would happen, and the opposite of what people want to see. I think the big problem with the FIFA Club World Cup is that there's just way too many teams in this competition. And on to mention, when you look at the teams that is, sure, yes, there are some big European teams that can draw some big attendance as well. And sure, when you look at the attendance with these being a mixed bag, there are definitely games that had full crowd there. I know Real Madrid earlier today had a pretty big crowd as well, but that's because it's Real Madrid. It's one of the biggest, if not the biggest club in the world in terms of the fan base. And then we saw also what happened in the Boca Junior and Benfica game. That game just, I mean, the atmosphere was absolutely electric in this one. It felt like you're in Argentina than rather in Miami itself. But then we also seen what happened in the Chelsea versus LAFC game where the attendance was absolutely horrendous. The Borussia Dortmund game that was also pretty bad as well. And then I think the low point is the game between Ulsan FC and Mamadou Sundown. I mean, there was like 100 fans that basically attended that game. So it's been a real mixed bag, and it's kind of expected because again, the popular team is going to get the draw. The unpopular team, good luck in terms of trying to get that draw, even if you're selling tickets on the cheap. And then what also doesn't help FIFA cases is the fact that playing these game in the middle of the day during the weekday, that is absolutely insane. I mean, I don't care the fact that this is just for TV audience sake, and especially European audience sake. We should not be seeing a game in the middle of the day. I mean, if you're going to draw the crowd and draw the attendance in the game and not expect the stadium to be half empty, don't play games at 3 p.m. in the afternoon on a Monday or on a Tuesday. It's never going to work. And I don't care if some people say that, well, in Europe that wouldn't happen. I guarantee you, if that happened in Europe, I mean, tell me one time where you see all those big European competition like the Champions League and Europa League would play games like at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. You can't because it doesn't happen and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And I feel like this is kind of the same case of the fact that FIFA thought that this was a great idea just because it attracted TV viewership, where in reality it's kind of an embarrassment because you look at the attendance for these games, and when you're not bringing some of the bigger team and play during those window, yeah, you're gonna see half empty stadium. And the other thing that also doesn't help FIFA cause in terms of the attendance woes is the fact that they're playing it in giant NFL stadium. I mean, these NFL stadium, I understand that they're using this as kind of almost like a trial for the World Cup that happened next year, but it does not look good when you see a stadium that is half empty, or even the upper deck completely empty as well. It just feels like almost like you're seeing the thing that MLS try not to have their team do at least 10 years ago, which is playing these oversized NFL stadium, playing these cavernous kind of stadium. It just looked bad all, all over the place. Now, moving on in terms of the next news. So, Atlanta United, they are report that they're going to be signing Albanian international, and I'm going to absolutely butcher this name. I think it is Enia Mekea. I think that's how you pronounce. I'm pretty sure that I'll get a better pronunciation once the broadcaster will find the correct pronunciation to this name. But yeah, I don't know too much about this guy other than the fact that Atlanta desperately needs center back help. In fact, when you look at this Atlanta team, they need help on pretty much every single front. I mean, you could say that the attack might need help, but in some way they're kind of in a sticky situation where they already spent so much on the attack where they almost are kind of stuck in that situation where there's no way they're going to just get rid of some of the pieces of the $50 million attack unless if they decided to exercise some of the buyouts. So what is an area that they can at least improve right away? It's got to be the defense of this team. I mean, this team is just leaking goals left and right. Everybody talks about the attacking woes of this Atlanta team and this $50 million attack pretty much is performing way below par. But let's not forget about the defense as well. And the defense has been a problem for Atlanta in the last couple of years, and the fact that they haven't quite addressed that and still are going top heavy on the attack as well. Yeah, you kind of now sense what's the biggest problem for this Atlanta team over the years, and getting this guy, we'll see whether or not if that will improve that defense at least for a bit. I mean, surely it has to with the way how bad their defense has been the last couple of years. Now, moving on into the next news. So there are some new stadium rendering of the Chicago Fire that has been released, and unfortunately, I don't think I have my phone with me. Actually, no, I think I have it right here. So let me just go ahead and show you guys the new rendering that they of course have. So the new rendering is kind of cool because it's actually color renderings that they released this time. Before they only released kind of like black and white renderings. So here are some of the renderings here. This is the outside of the stadium, that is. Not quite sure you guys can really see this very well, but yeah, that's the outside of it. This is the inside of the stadium itself. Pretty cool there. Um, and what else? I think there's a couple of renderings. So this is another rendering right here. They also have like a video uh about the rendering as well. But yeah, this is kind of interesting. And when you look at the stadium itself, the inside, I will say that it does look a little bit generic and kind of a little bit disappointing because when you look at the inside of the stadium, it just kind of looks like any other MLS stadium. You have like the full bowl on the western side, you got the suites and the club level, and then on the other side are just the the main stand. You also get the supporter section on one end, but the outside is unique. The exterior, I think, is going to make this stadium very unique. The exteriors is kind of a brick exterior. I always like the bricks exteriors. It's very kind of old school, very kind of college level kind of stuff, and I think that that's kind of something that I haven't seen a lot of MLS teams try to do, which is go in that older brick kind of style. A lot of these teams have been trying these very futuristic kind of style for their exterior, but I like the fact that Chicago is trying to keep it classic in terms of this kind of brick exterior, kind of industrial kind of look thing, because the city of Chicago, it was not only a big city nowadays, but back then during the 1900 there was a lot of industrial kind of plant around the area that really makes the city so great back then as well. Now, Tampa Bay Suns of the USL Super League, and this is the women's league, the second tier women's league besides the NWSL. They're set to build a new stadium in Ybor City. Now, the reason why I want to mention this is because I want to mention the fact that it seems like there was a report saying that Allianz Stadium, which is the one that Tampa Bay Rowdies currently play in, that stadium looks like they're gonna get rid of that stadium to put some new development, and there could be a case where the Tampa Bay Rowdies might be kicked out of that stadium. Now, with the way that the women's team is looking to build this new stadium, and with the way that this new stadium is, it's a 15,000 seat stadium, which is really big for a USL Super League kind of team. I mean, this is a league that just founded a couple of years ago, and most of these women's team doesn't really have like big stadium. So you just kind of wonder, is this perfect for the Tampa Bay Rowdies to move into to this stadium? I mean, it makes sense too, because with them potentially putting some new development and getting rid of Alling Stadium, which I heard Alling Stadium, well, the location is very good right down in the waterfront in the St. Pete area. It's not really a great stadium in general. It's a very old stadium that is kind of, some people say that it's starting to fall apart as well. So this would make perfect sense for the Rowdies to build themselves in a stadium that's actually also closer to the Tampa Bay area as well. And it's also kind of interesting that they're building this at Ybor City because that's wasn't that used to be the site that the Rays were looking to try to build their new stadium to replace Tropicana field. So it's kind of interesting the fact that City in the Tampa area they agreed to build this new stadium, but then they don't agree to build a new baseball stadium for the Tampa Bay Rays. I guess maybe the reason why it's the case is because it seems like this is going to be privately funded, unlike what we see with the Rays Stadium at Ybor City. And anytime of course, if you are going to be privately funded a stadium and are not going to rely on public funds, not only it's easier to get a stadium being built and being approved, but the city is more likely going to approve because the city is going to be happy for teams to build themselves a stadium that is not going to have to worry about public funds to be contributed. And this is why when the Chicago Fire built their or set to build their new stadium and got the approval to build that new stadium, the reason why they were able to do so, unlike the Chicago White Sox were going to do, is the fact that the Fire new stadium is going to be 100% privately funded. It's going to be privately funded by their owner Joe Mansudo, unlike what we see with the Chicago White Sox, the fact that they were going to have to rely on some public funds to try to build the stadium right on the site that the Fire is about to build themselves a new venue. And then speaking of stadiums, so finally the last news we're going to talk about is the San Francisco Board of Supervisors has now unanimously voted to approve to improve Kezar Stadium. So there was a report saying that Kezar Stadium is going to go through a $10 million infrastructure improvement. And a big reason why that is the case is because Golden City FC, a MLS Next Pro team that is going to be coming in soon, they're going to be moving into Kezar Stadium, and that it's a very controversial move, I would say, because Kezar Stadium, it's already home to a couple of teams. Well, actually, it's home to SF City as well. And as a person that goes to SF City game in the Sports Hall series, and especially I know some of the people from SF City, this is kind of concerning the fact that what are they gonna do now in terms of finding themselves a new venue. But at the same time, I feel like Kezar Stadium desperately needs some infrastructure improvement. I mean, I've been there many times. It's a nice little stadium, but it just feels like it's one of those stadium that looks very tiresome and need a big improvement there. And especially with the way that San Francisco itself, I feel like this city deserved to have. I mean, not saying that SF City is not a team that represent the city itself, but I feel like they would be benefit if they have another bigger team. I mean, there was a rumor saying that they're gonna put a USL team there. Obviously, that plan fell through, but now it seems like they're gonna put an MLS Next Pro team, and especially the MLS Next Pro. I find it interesting the fact that they started to be becoming a bit of a development league, but now it feels like when you look at some of the recent expansion that is going on with the MLS Next Pro, it's kind of becoming more like a rival league to our USL itself. It feels like it's started to become like what we see with the USL Championship, adding these new city in, and it's I mean, it still is a development league, but it's still a league that we're starting to see independent affiliate club that is being there that is not affiliated with an MLS team itself, and they're kind of almost like playing that league similar to what we see what USL team would do in the USL Championship and the USL League One. And I'm also not surprised that that's kind of the direction that MLS Next Pro is heading in because, like I said, MLS and USL, these two different entity, I feel like they're going to be head to head with each other, especially with the way that once the first division of USL is going to be launched and once promotion and relegation is going to happen in USL, this could be an interesting thing battle between them and MLS itself, and that I'll definitely maybe keep an eye on that and maybe even do a video talking about the big battle that is going on in the American soccer landscape, similar to what we see in other sports, where I feel like right now the American soccer landscape is starting to approach similar to what we see with other sports. Like for example, I will give the NFL as an example where the NFL before that there was a competitive league between the AFL and the NFL itself, and then both league eventually merge each other because of them kind of creating competition for a while now. And it feels like it's kind of the same thing now. We're heading with the MLS and USL as well, where they're going to be competing for the first couple of years, but there could be a talk where maybe we might see a big merger happen, and that I feel like the American soccer landscape could really change in these next 15 years or so. But there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the news of the week episode. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these news, and if there's any news I didn't mention here on the board, let me know in the comments below as always. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.